Welcome back to my animal education series. Today I got a little surprise for you guys. I'm at SeaWorld San Antonio. I've been trying to get an interview at SeaWorld for about the entirety of my channel. Been asking over and over when we usually go to the Orlando one, and I've gotten nothing back. But we contacted San Antonio, down here in Texas, and we got an interview. So I can't wait for you guys to see that. I don't know if it's coming out before or after this, but it really doesn't matter. I'm going to show you guys some of the animals that they have here. I first came to this aquarium when I was 4 or 5 years old. So I don't remember anything except for one thing, and that's feeding dolphins. May or may not do that today. Just depends on how busy the crowds are, how close people are, because I don't want to get too close and social distancing and all that other fun stuff. But without further ado, let's go look at some animals. One thing I really like about SeaWorld is how they mix education and entertainment. So behind us here we have a couple of roller coasters, and along all of these coasters they have signs that tell you a little bit about the animals. And then over here to my left, they have this giant lake or lagoon. I'm not exactly sure the specifics, but here's where they do their jet ski show. So they have a couple of ramps over there, and they do tricks and all sorts of cool stuff. And another thing I really like with going to SeaWorld is, I don't know why, but it always happens that every time I go to SeaWorld, I see some kind of native snake laying around that nobody else notices. The last couple times I went down to Orlando, I saw some water moccasins that nobody else noticed. So maybe I'll see one today. Maybe not. It's really hot out, so the snakes are kind of hiding away, but you never know. Maybe we'll see one. Behind us here we have some of SeaWorld's rescued sea turtles. So I believe there's 4 of them in here, yes. So these are all rescues that they are not able to rehabilitate into the wild. So you kind of see how these animals can swim just fine after some of their injuries or abandonments that they probably had when they were younger. That's super cool. I love seeing turtles, and sea turtles are especially a lot bigger than turtles you can find here in the continental United States. So they're super cool to see. So we're getting ready to walk through the penguin building. It's a bit loud in here, so I don't know how much talking I'll be able to do. But let's take a look at some of the penguins here and the enclosures that they have.
Ensures the best possible conditions for these specialized forward birds.
Behind us here we have the puffin enclosure, which is what I'm a big fan of, because we have some of the aquatic plants on here and plenty of depth for them to dive into. We also have artificial cliffs back there for them to make their nest on, hop around on. And I'm not sure if they have their wings clipped for any flying. I don't see too many of them flying, so that's a possibility here. But even with that, there's plenty of places for them to go and get away from each other in case like they're fighting for whatever reason. But anyway, it's a really well put together and naturalistic enclosure.
As soon as they lay the eggs, they're done with them. Alligators, however, are the exception to that rule. Female alligators make excellent mothers for their young. So during the breeding season, which is kind of late May, early June time, female alligators are going to build a really, really big nest.
Over here we had the alligator enclosure, which is a really cool enclosure to see. Around the edge of the pond, I really like how it had elevation change, so it gives the alligators plenty of exercise when they're outside of the pond, and they're already getting exercise inside of it. We just tried to find a place to go over the music because the music's kind of loud because they have keeper talks there, which is another thing I really like about SeaWorld here is they have keeper talks for all their main animals here, or even like alligators, which aren't technically a main animal here at their Texas facility here, but like they still have keeper talks that teach people about all sorts of animals and why it's important to have these animals. I just think that's super cool. Here we have the sea lion and seal enclosure. There's not as many seals as sea lions, but we do have a seal over there, and we have one that's swimming around over there. And then we have a bunch of sea lions. And if you look over here, we got probably one of the cutest sea lions I've ever seen. We have another one tucked up behind the rock that you can only see from the other side. But like, he's been scratching himself and just rolling around, having the time of his life back there. I took a video from my mom because she loves baby animals. And they've been super vocal, just playing around with each other, which has also kind of made it a pain to film because it just kind of won't shut up, but it's a super cool vocalization that they make. But let's go see some dolphins. Back here we have some African spot-necked otters. I really like the enclosure here with all the water features, the large water pool, and then these nice waterfalls here. I don't know if it said water features, but I just really like how they incorporated this. And just a couple minutes ago, the otter was standing up here looking at us and then jumped down, swam back into that log, and then ran back up to his buddy back there. I just think that's super cool. Over here we also have some small clawed otters, but there are some people over there, so we have to put our mask on for that. Probably won't film there. Then we got some sea lions, and then once we exit the park, we'll be able to see some dolphins and some sharks. We are now here in the dolphin section of SeaWorld San Antonio. Behind us we have this nice little lagoon where the dolphins are. Actually, my first memory of ever being at it, SeaWorld in general, was when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I came here and I fed a dolphin. That's actually the only thing I remember from that experience, but my parents always tell me that once I came here I instantly fell in love with dolphins and beluga whales, which I totally believe in because I still love dolphins and beluga whales. So we have this nice lagoon for them. You can interact with the dolphins over there and they do like little tricks and things like that. And then they have plenty of areas to swim over there, interact with all the trainers who are giving them plenty of enrichment, which dolphins definitely need. They need a lot of enrichment. But it's a nice little area to look back, and my dad remembers how excited I was when I was little and still excited about it now. But let's go look at some sharks and finish off this little tour. Today is a really great day to visit SeaWorld because they're only letting in 1/3 of the usual amount of guests. Out in the parking lot they have like 2 spots in between each car to help break that up. But besides the feels like temperature being like 105 or 106, I don't know, it's stupidly hot at this point. But there's no people anywhere. The only issue we have filming is just the background music, which they have everywhere, but we can deal with that. But let's go take a look at some sharks.
Hello.
Oh, there's someone behind the glass. Behind us here we have this huge tank, and inside of the tank is a simulated reef. We have tons of coral fish and I believe they're cow-nosed rays, and that's personally my favorite species of ray because I've been able to interact with them in several feeding stations, and just the experience I have with them makes them super cool. But it's awesome to see how much space they're giving all these fish and all the different varieties of fish they have in there. But when we take a look at this next tank, we're gonna see a bunch of sharks. I do apologize for the lighting, but in order to see these animals better, it has darker in here and brighter in there. But we have some sand tiger sharks and some zebra sharks in here. But let's keep moving and look at the next tank. That is going to conclude it for my tour of SeaWorld San Antonio. We were unfortunately not able to see any of the beluga whales or the orcas, but they're animals and you're not going to see them all the time, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little tour video. As always, don't forget to leave a big thumbs up down below, subscribe to my channel, and as always, I'll see you next week.